You know, so I'm scared. So I get in the car. I mean, what you want from me? I get in the car. So I'm in the car in the back seat. I can't even mimic it. It's so loud though. And I have a dream.
I tell you what, a person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay. I'd like to welcome you to Mr. Quick's online video lesson.
Points and I start deducting for future weeks. So I would take notes. I would make it a priority. Sit. Okay, this is part 2 of the 4-part introduction to advanced grammar. This is the most important part for 10th grade. Yes, it is. So that goes without saying that we need to go over this. We need to go over this thoroughly, and we need to go over this, and we need to understand this part definitely. And I wouldn't play around with this, because not understanding this part may cause you to lose a whole lot of points in the future. Yes, believe it or not, what we do today and tomorrow may cause you a whole lot of problems from the months to come. So, if you, for whatever reason, don't quite get today's class and you need to go on the website in the grammar section or in the student section under week 1, and you need to look at the videos, you need to go over the presentation. In the grammar section, you can listen to me with in the audio, go over it, but you have to get it any way you look at it. So, here we go. The most common errors that students who are learning standard edited English make when they are constructing sentences. And this is what it's all about, writing a proper sentence. You might say to yourself, I learned that already. Well, you learned how to write a sentence. I saw Spot run. That was a simple sentence. You learned how to do that. Wonderful. Your mommy was happy. The teacher was happy. But now we need to take it to the next level. Your sentences need to become more complex. Yes. These are the errors that most students who learn standard edited English make when they are writing sentences. Not taking notes in my class, I deduct 20 points from your grade. Some of you have already lost 50 points this week. You only get 100 points in a week. When I run out of points for that week, which is 100 points, then I start deducting for future weeks. So I would take notes. I would make it a priority. Sentence fragments, comma splices, run-on sentences, missing comma with compound sentences. These are the most common of the sentence structure errors. Okay. Here we go. You must learn how to avoid these errors, and for the SAT, identify these errors. You must. Moving right along. First step in this process is understanding independent and dependent clauses. That is the first step. That is the first step. Okay, it's going to be hot here for a little while. Sorry. And I can do it. Believe me, if I could fix it myself, I know. If I could fix it myself, it would be an icebox in here. To understand these errors, we must, without a doubt, learn the difference between independent and dependent clauses. And for you, you need to understand what a clause is. Yes, well, both independent and dependent clauses in general, have subjects and predicates. Every clause has a subject and a predicate. If it does not have a subject and a predicate, it is not a clause. It is not a clause. It's a phrase. If it does not have a subject and a predicate, it is not a clause. Okay. We have two types of clauses, independent and dependent. We need to know the difference between those two. And this is very important. An independent clause stands alone in a sentence. It does not describe or modify a part of another sentence. It does not need anything. It can be a sentence by itself, an independent clause. However, a dependent clause is not meant to stand alone. Its purpose is to describe a part of another sentence. Making it simple, independent needs or does not need mommy. Dependent needs mommy. So, independent does not need mommy. Dependent needs mommy. Okay, so, okay. No, we don't have time for that, sorry. There's a video. Okay, let's talk about independent clauses first. Let's talk about independent clauses first. Let's talk about independent clauses first. It's the noise. I'm trying to get rid of the noise so you can hear me. Okay, here we go. The yellow part of the sentences below indicate independent clauses. Let's look at these sentences. The best way to learn something is to see examples. I like examples. Let's look at this example. This is a sentence. What's in yellow is an independent clause. So let's see how independent clauses look inside of sentences. Bush's top speechwriter, Michael Gerson, is regarded as a master of his trade. Let's imagine the white part is gone. We erased it. We erased the white part. Could the yellow part still be a sentence? Yeah, it sure could. Yes. That's how we know we have an independent clause. Okay, let's look at another one. A larger sentence. While John Kerry can speak rousingly for whole paragraphs without saying anything precise or concrete, Bush rarely puts 10 words together in a major address without taking a position, passing a judgment, or proclaiming a purpose. Let's again imagine that we erased the white part. Could the yellow part still be a sentence? Yes? Yes. That's how we know this is an independent clause. Because it can stand alone. It does not need this part. Yes. Okay. Moving right along. Yes, sir?
You said the independent clauses must stand alone.
Yes.
Yeah, the sentence does stand alone.
The sentence, yes. But this is the independent clause. It's in white. It cannot stand alone. What is in yellow is the dependent clause. It can stand alone. But since this is an introduction, you really weren't supposed to know that. I'm just showing you how independent clauses look. So you weren't supposed to know that. But if you do know that, then that's excellent. That means you're a little ahead of everyone else. Yes? And I'm hoping that. praying for that. Okay, compound subjects and verbs. Now we said that clauses contain subjects and verbs. Yes? But what happens when we have a clause that has more than one, or appears to have more than one subject and more than one verb? The boys and the girl drew pictures, shopped for toys, and ate cookies. We have appears to be 2 subjects and 3 verbs. How many clauses? How many clauses? 2? Okay. Anyone else? 3? Anyone else? Tell us why. Okay. Stop right there. He is right. We have one subject. It is called a compound subject, meaning that it is made up of more than one noun. And we have one predicate. It's called a compound predicate. It has 1, 2, 3 verbs. Now, so we're still keeping with what we said, that a clause has one subject and one predicate. So that is one clause. You were right. Let's look at another example. The rabbit, gopher, and turtle visited the store, purchased equipment, and prepared for the hurricane. It appears that we have 3 subjects and 3 verbs. Appears. How many clauses we have here? 1. Yes. Why? Yes. We have a compound subject. It is made up of 3 nouns. Rabbit, gopher, turtle. So that's just one. That's one subject. Then we have a compound predicate. It is made up of 3 verbs. Because that one subject is doing all of those things. So we really only have 1 clause. There's your note. Now, so we said that clauses have a subject and a predicate, or a subject and a verb. Every time you see a subject and a verb, you should have a clause. Exception, compound subjects and compound verbs or compound predicates. Okay? That is the exception. You must remember that. Okay. Like I said, this is the introduction. Okay, let's talk about adverb and adjective clauses. Let's talk about adverb and adjective clauses. Now, adverb and adjective clauses are considered dependent clauses. Before we can understand what they do in a sentence, we must understand what is an adjective and what is an adverb. And we all should know that because we talked about that last week when we went over the 8 parts of speech. You remember the 8 parts of speech? We talked about what an adjective is, what a verb is, so forth and so on. Okay, so we know that. I'm going to make it easy for you because I got a question. Here's a sentence. Here is a dependent clause in yellow. My question is, what is this dependent clause acting as in this sentence? An adverb or an adjective? Read the sentence. An adverb. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? An adjective? Okay. You were going to say something? Yes? An adjective? Okay. Adverb? Oh, adjective. Okay. Let's say it's an adjective clause. Here's my question. What word is that adjective or adjective clause modifying? No. We can't use the words in the clause because the clause itself is modifying. Yes. Form of expression. What did you think? Watch Bush. Okay. You're right. You're right. Yes. It is an adjective clause. It describes expression. It tells us what kind of expression. How it looks. Yes. Yes? Okay. Again, we know that the yellow is clause. I want to know, is it a verb or an adjective clause? You say adjective? You say adverb? Why you say adjective? Okay. Okay. Yes? Right. And it's modifying trust. Okay, so both of you had an idea that it was, whatever it was, it was modifying trust. Yes? I agree. I agree. Yes. Okay. That's pretty good for this to be an introduction here. All right, noun clause. Noun clauses are pretty easy. They contain the noun. So we won't waste a whole lot of time with going over noun clauses. Noun clauses are clauses that contain the noun. Yes, and serve as the subject of another clause. Okay, so we'll move along with that. I told you, and I showed you the most common errors that students who are learning standard edited English make when they write sentences. And I told you that the first step to identifying and correcting those errors is to be able to find the clauses in a sentence. So here are some tricks to locate the clauses. Number one, first identify all the verbs in the sentence. Every verb you can match with the subject indicates a clause, with the exception of compound subjects and compound predicates. Yes? Okay. If you can substitute a simple adjective, adverb, or noun for a clause, it's likely a dependent clause. Okay? And we're going to talk about that one. Look for the word that starts a clause. If it's a subordinating conjunction. No one in here has ever heard this term before. You need to write it down. Subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction. You got it. Okay. If the word is a subordinating conjunction and it starts off the clause, and that clause is probably a dependent clause, and we're going to talk about that. If the clause starts with a relative pronoun, such as what, which, who, when, how, it's likely a dependent clause. Okay, let's go over this. Subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction. What is a subordinating conjunction? Well, they're like prepositions that position clauses. Depending on where the clause is, there are things you have to do. Subordinating conjunctions start off dependent clauses. So if you can locate that word that is a subordinated conjunction, it'd be quite easy to find the dependent clause in a sentence. For instance, after the show was over, we had lunch. The subordinated conjunction here is after. It starts off the dependent clause. Since the dependent clause comes first, we add a comma. We're going to talk about that in more detail. This is an introduction. Since you've been gone, since being the subordinating conjunction, comma, I haven't been able to eat a single Twinkie. Yes, I love that restaurant because it serves very good, important, non-alcoholic beer. This subordinating conjunction comes in the middle. Notice we didn't use a comma, but we'll talk more about that. These are the subordinating conjunctions. This is how they look in sentences. And as we can tell, based on where they are in the sentence, there's other things we have to do. We're going to talk about that. Okay, relative pronouns. Other words that start dependent clauses. And here they are. I would write them down. I would write them down. The relative pronouns are who, which, what, that, as, and the compounds whoever, whosoever, whichever, whatever, and whatsoever. You need these. Yes.
For a second, this is the latest class list.
Okay.
I just want to go over it.
I got it from yesterday.
You got it? Give it to me.
Miss
Yesterday?
my desk.
This is Tanvi or? Tanvi?
What is missing? I went over it.
I want to mention Abdurrahman Awais. Adham. Okay. Ahmed Hussein Shanawi. Amr Arwa. Asad. Heidi. Khalid Gindi. Mayar. Omar Rushdie.
In the back.
Zina. Omar Khalid. Inji Labis. And Yara Asif. Anyone missing?
In the back.
Aya.
Another time.
After this period, I moved Aya to Tanvi.
Okay, so she won't be in here. Okay. All right. Example. The student who left her avocado should return at once to fetch it. Could someone tell me where the dependent clause is in this sentence? Yes, that's it. Okay, let's look at another example. We must win this game no matter what the consequences may be. Could someone tell me where the dependent? Yes. What? Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're like masters now, so we don't have to. Okay, identifying clauses. Let's talk about it. First, and we said it again, as we saying it again, first identify the verbs and their subjects. Yes, for every verb and subject that you can find, you have a clause except when it's compound subjects and predicates. We got that? Okay, all right. Example. And I did a little tricky something here. After 1992, the band produced only 4 singles and 1 album. Which did very well on the charts. Could someone tell me where the dependent clause is? Which did very well, and you knew that because of the word which. Yes, I think I agree. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, all right. So I think we got the ID here. Now, this is a little tricky. Not a really big deal, but I want to go over it. Replacing dependent clauses with simple words. Okay, here's the idea. Here's our sentence. The idea is, first, this is the first thing you have to do. First, you have to identify the dependent clause. Then you have to say to yourself, is that dependent clause an adjective or adverb clause or noun clause? After you do that, you should be able to do this. You should be able to replace the entire clause with a word, any word. Example, I would like the boat that comes with the best warranty. Could someone tell me where the dependent clause is? Yes. Okay, now we know where the clause is. Can someone tell me if this clause is an adjective, adverb, or noun clause? You say adverb? Yes. Adjective. Okay. All right. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to erase this clause. I want you to give me one word that we can put after both that would allow us to still have a sentence. No, we have erased the clause. I would like... No. Say that again. I would like the boat. I would like the boat warranty. Okay. Okay. I like what you just did. We try to keep it simple and keep it there. Okay. And you should be able to replace the dependent clause with one word. If it is an adjective, adverb, or noun clause. He said warranty. I say I would like the boat outside. Yes. So I replace this adjective clause with one word. Same concept. I want to do it here. After I bought the ticket, I learned the show had been canceled. First things first. Where is the dependent clause? Okay. Now, is it an adverb or adjective clause or noun clause? Which one? You say adverb? Okay, now, let's erase the clause and let's replace this clause with one word. It's time for her to answer the question. Yes. Okay. Anyone want to help? All she's doing is replacing this clause with a word. She said it's an adverb clause. I would replace it with an adverb. I would replace it with an adverb, since it is an adverb clause. Okay, fortunately, eventually, yes. And we still have a sentence. So that's how we know that it is a dependent clause. We have another one. Where's the clause and what kind of clause is it? Yes? Yes. Okay, replace it. The noun clause. He said it's a noun clause. Now we have to replace it with a word. If it's a noun clause, then we can replace it with a noun. Say that again. Okay. I tell you what, let's replace it with a proper noun. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Say it. No, don't make another clause. Just one You said it. You said ad him. Ad him is it important? Yes? Yeah, that's how you do. Yeah. Well, you know, okay, ad him, Bob, whatever. But you should be able to replace it with one word. That's the whole idea. Good morning. Air conditioning. Okay. I want to air condition so bad. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. There's the air conditioner is it's not even connected. Combining clauses. Okay, no, it's not time. There's nobody out here. Everything is beautiful. We got time. Combining clauses. Here is where we take it to the next level. Here is where you begin to write compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. In 3 weeks, I will not accept simple sentences from 10th graders. Yes. Simple sentences will become a thing of the past, or your grade will lose a whole lot of points. And here is where it begins, our discussion about how to write these types of sentences. Now, we talked about clauses. We talked about independent and dependent clauses. Now we need to talk about how do we connect and join independent and dependent clauses. And I guess we have to start tomorrow. Unfortunately, don't cry, don't cry. We'll be here tomorrow. I know. I feel bad also. But, you know, that's just the way it is.
Tell you what, a person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.